Hi, hello, and welcome back to Crick Static Season 3, powered by Wannabe. And this episode is something that I'm really looking forward to because you're going to see a different avatar of me while talking about the Chennai Super Kings. A loss, a big one, in fact, it's going to take a hit on our net run rate as well. And before I expand on that, I must say the way Sai Sudarshan performed. I'm going to talk in length about Sai Sudarshan and how unjust the man of the match going to Shubman Gill was because in all honesty, Sai Sudarshan left no stone unturned to prove to the selectors that strike rate is not something that they should be concerned about with players like him and Virat Kohli. I put him up in that league. He's Tamil Nadu's boy. He's come from the soil. He's worked the hard yards. And I remember seeing this one video about Ravichandran Ashwin where he says, he looked a very ordinary player in the nets. I bowled to him before. The first time I bowled to him, he didn't know how to play me exactly very well. He was not able to play the fast bowlers properly. And he met him around 8 months later, and the same guy was leaving the outswinger very well. He was playing the drives, he was picking Ashwin's carom balls. So, that speaks magnitudes of the effort and the hard work that this man is putting in, and to see it come to life, it's truly sensational. And this CSK should not take this with a pinch of salt, in all honesty, because leaving Sai Sudarshan in the auction and not having a single Tamil player in the mix in Chennai Super Kings is something that really fuels my anger. It's something that really drives me crazy because being the Chennai Super Kings, shouldn't you have some Tamil players inside? Shouldn't you have any Tamil Nadu representative in your squad? When you have absolutely no one in your 11, on what basis are you going to try and construct a squad that has a homely feel? Yes, they are the most successful franchise, no doubt about that. I'm in love with the franchise personally as well. They've got one of the best setups, the best management, but if the reason being given is that there's a talent drought, then in all honesty, I don't think the management is doing a great job because you have abundance of talent almost in Tamil Nadu now. You've got the TNPL that is doing wonders. You've got an auction in the TNPL in which you have stalwarts like Ravichandran Ashwin and Dinesh Karthik getting involved. So, தமிழில் சொல்லணும்னா ஐ திங்க் நிறைய தமிழ் பிளேயர்ஸ் இருக்காங்க இந்த ஆக்ஷன் பூலில், நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க ஐபிஎல்லையே. அவங்களெல்லாம் எடுத்து ஒரு நல்ல ஸ்குவாட் ஃபார்ம் பண்ணலாம். பட் I don't see why they haven't as of yet. But returning to Sai Sudarshan, Gujarat Titans amassed 231 for 3 in 20 overs, and it was the pitch. It was very, very similar to how Chepak would play out. And I must say, I was very baffled by Ruturaj Gaikwad's captaincy. And, to sneak in 4 overs of Daryl Mitchell for 52 runs, that's almost, I think that's exactly 13 runs an over. It made absolutely no sense to me. I would have tried and snuck in an over of Rachin Ravindra if needed. Because when things aren't going your way, sometimes you've got to think out of the box. And at that time, at that point, thinking out of the box would have been to try and slip in the over of the left-arm spinner. And it would have been a good matchup, in all honesty, keeping in mind that the square boundaries and the long-on, long-off boundaries, the straight boundaries are extremely long. To take that gamble against Shubman Gill, who plays the shot straight down the ground wonderfully, yes, but it would have been a good gamble to take, in my opinion. And another facet that was very striking, throughout the game was that they didn't, they brought, I think the bowling changes were, a notch, subpar than how it has been throughout the tournament. Mitchell Santner bowling 2 for 31 if I'm not wrong, and I felt he could have bowled one at an earlier stage after the first over. And an appreciation shout out to Shardul Thakur. It's like games in these in which Thakur proves his prowess. 4 overs for 25 runs when your next best bowler is Tushar Deshpande, and these two bowlers in tandem in having the least economy in this game is it's really perplexing because the image that you associate with Shardul Thakur and Tushar Deshpande is they're a tad on the expensive side and they have the wickets to back them up as well though. But I must say Thakur bowled wonderfully yesterday, and so did Tushar. He brought in the wickets in his last over, 3.3 and 3.5 if I'm not wrong, and he was very good to Tushar Deshpande. And I did feel that the CSK bowlers were unlucky because it was a good toss to win for Gaikwad, but a bad decision that he made is what I would say, because I guess you're not the best bowling side. In fact, you're not even then I think in the last 3, when it comes to ranking the bowling sides in the 10 IPL teams that are there. But I felt they could have been more tactically astute this game, and I must say the weakest link in the CSK lineup, must be Ajinkya Rahane, because a lot of people would say it's MS Dhoni in this lineup, and I must say he scored 26 of 11 with a muscle tear in his knee. So that speaks so much about the player that he is at this age at 42. And I'm conveniently going to use the notion of him being a 42-year-old retired strawberry farmer who can come out and hit Rashid Khan for sixes. I would like to see your idol do that. That will be very interesting. And anyways, coming back to the topic, I must say, it was very baffling to send Rahane once again opening. I felt, they might send Rutu and Rachin, and they might try and get off to a good start. They would want that aggression up top and probably hold back Rahane for one down in case a wicket falls early. If not, unleash Samir Rizvi, because this is the kind of game in which you need someone to come out there and score a 50 of 20 balls, or you need someone to come in and score 100 of 40 balls. So 50 of 20 balls from Samir Rizvi is something you can expect, given that he plays spin exceptionally, and that would have created a lot of turmoil for Shubman Gill, because Rahul Tewatia, which too confused me a lot to see him as the on-field skipper with David Miller in the mix, especially because then you would have to hold back your spinners, because Samir Rizvi's game against spin, he's one of the most flamboyant players against spin. Yes, he's been kind of a letdown for all the hype that was created around him and his price tag, especially for 7.8 crores, but I must say, the time will come for Samir. I really see something in Rizvi. He's got the game, because CSK is not the kind of franchise who would buy a youngster and immediately let him have a go, because they have always been this franchise, whether it was with Hari Nishant, whether it was Narayan Jagadisan, who got his chance finally, I think in 22 versus the Gujarat Titans, and I think Matisha Patirana made his debut in that game as well. And then you have even Sai Kishore, Ravi Srinivasan Sai Kishore, who never played a game for the Kings, and here he is doing wonders for the Gujarat Titans. So I must say, when I saw Sai Sudarshan playing, and you could see so much of grit, so much of focus, and sometimes cricket is not only about the analytical aspect. I am someone who believes in a lot of analysis. I like analyzing the game, but I must say, looking at Sai Sudarshan bat yesterday, I learned a lot of life lessons. He was looking at the ball until it went to the stands. After hitting a six, you could see the players, the players who play ritzy and fashionable shots, who have all the swagger and dapper, they walk down the field after hitting those sixes. He hit the six, takes his bat all the way back and just looks at the ball. He wants it. For him, he's set the target that this ball has to go for a six. So it's almost as if he's an AI batting, because I even watched YouTube shots the other day where Shah Rukh Khan, the batsman from Tamil Nadu, says, who was also playing in Gujarat Titans. It's actually the Gujarat Tamil players now, because they have more number of Tamil players than CSK. On a whole, they have, I think, 4 Tamil players. And he says, Sai Sudarshan ஆடாரம்பிச்சா out எடுக்கிறது ரொம்பவே கஷ்டங்க, and that means once he gets going, it's very, very hard to get him out. And I mean, he didn't lie at all, because he was looking in some different touch. And I must say, yes, Sai Sudarshan, the T20 player, is coming about quite well in the IPL. Strike rate has been a concern, but I would really ask the selectors not to look at Sai Sudarshan's strike rate. He is an all-format player who go on to do wonders for the country. If there's anyone after Ravichandran Ashwin in Tamil Nadu who looks a definite prospect for all the 3 formats, it's got to be Sai Sudarshan. A very open punt that I'm going to be taking here is that no other player in Tamil Nadu can balance all 3 formats as well as this lad does. He's definitely got the pedigree that no one else does. He comes in, plays the shots of unparalleled finesse. He's a great player through the offside as well. He's got some ostentatious strokes. The way he lifts his bat over extra cover, it's just something about those sixes over extra cover that make them extra special. And when a left-hander does it, you get goosebumps all over again. So I must say, Sai Sudarshan has been a huge positive, and I hope he achieves a lot of laurels for the country. I hope he wins a lot of awards as well. And it was very unjustified from whoever decides the man of the match. I think it's the commentators to give it to Shubman Gill. Yes, Shubman Gill played a great innings. I must give it to him. It was a captain's knock, 104 of 55 deliveries. He looked in a monstrous mood. He was almost, he came in determined. I think you could see that he was hungry for runs. I think he was also played with the vengeance that he had to give to the repay to the selectors of being dropped from the T20 World Cup squad and being put in the reserves. That's something still I agree with. I think it was very much justified to put him in the reserves. He's not got a great national record to back him up. And talking about the T20 World Cup squad, I'd really like to thank all of you for the amazing reception that I got for my 2 episodes, part 1 and part 2 of the T20 World Cup squad analysis with the 3 panelists, Shashwat, Abhinav and Sai Krishna. It was truly overwhelming, and please do watch the video if you already haven't. I'll leave the link in the description. And I must say, this game on a whole, you could see that CSK wanted the win. They were playing for the win, but with the ball, they were a touch laggy. When you give 190 in 15 overs for the loss of no wickets, it speaks volumes of your bowling attack. With this bowling attack, can you win an IPL? I'm very skeptical about that, but because of how often CSK have clutched in the playoffs, I just have that 0.1% glimmer of belief in this franchise. And that brings me on to my next point. I'm going to talk about the CSK batting, and then I'm going to compare that to Shubman Gill and present my case. CSK's batting, when Rachin Ravindra got run out, I was confident that they might try and send Ruturaj Gaikwad one down. I knew that was the plan from ball one. Everyone knew that's the plan, but I just had a feeling somewhere subconsciously that they might try and promote Daryl Mitchell to this position. Nothing else, but because I felt if Mitchell plays more number of deliveries, he becomes a better player. And I know Ruturaj didn't waste too many balls. 3 balls he did get out for 0 in. But you can't expect Rutu to perform in every game, especially after being excluded from a T20 World Cup squad. You have no idea how much of mental disturbance must be there in his mind. So you have to give him that much space. But it's been a great season for Ruturaj Gaikwad. I felt he deserved a squad ahead of Shubman Gill, who played a great knock, as I said. But nevertheless, you can watch that review to know more about that, especially part 2 where I've spoken about Gaikwad. And that brings me back to the topic. This was a good chance for CSK to utilize Moeen Ali. You could see that early on Moeen Ali did not look as comfortable as he usually did. You could see that he was struggling with his footwork. He wasn't moving his feet outside to the ball that Warrior was taking away, to the ball that Umesh was swinging away. He was trying to put his bat at it, but every time he did it, the ball was just swinging away, and that was because of the lack of feet shuffling. But once Moeen Ali got in and once he started wrecking havoc with those 3 sixes versus Noor Ahmed, you knew somewhere that the match is still alive, provided that CSK had that extra batter in the middle, and that's where I felt CSK screwed up with Ajinkya Rahane, and Gill had the perfect game for Gujarat Titans. Now let me compare 2 very striking facets of Shubman Gill and Daryl Mitchell and Moeen Ali on a whole to show you why Shubman Gill had a better game than the two. And if you say closely, Daryl Mitchell, he tried his best to go for the runs in a very safe manner. You could see that he wasn't stepping out of the crease very often. He was trying to stay even in the power play. You could see he was trying to amass the ball from his crease. The ball that he got out to, he didn't try to use his feet, but the feet shuffling that Shubman Gill did was much better than both of Moeen Ali and Daryl Mitchell. And I must say, this kind of a track is where exactly you can experiment that. The ball wasn't turning a lot, it was coming a little straight on. The only ball that turned was to the god of cricket, MS Dhoni, that too which hit him on the pad and which was not out, that DR has declared that. But I must say, I felt somewhere that they could have gone. None of the CSK batters used their feet properly, and the only batter who did, and a lot of people who say that he has even I said this in the start of the episode that he has a muscle tear. MS Dhoni was using his feet against Rashid Khan, and he was even moving backwards to get that last ball boundary. So you could see that intent from MS, and I really like that. And the intent was lacking from all the CSK batters. It was almost as if they were playing under a lot of pressure that was paramount on them. You could see that the lack of intent was visible because even their feet shuffling, that was missing. And when your head position and feet shuffling aren't in alignment, then it's going to become very hard. And in all honesty, I felt Gujarat Titans completely outclassed CSK only with the bat. With the ball, of course, Mohit Sharma was, once again, in fact, he was fantastic. He ran in and, his back of the hand slow ball is tremendous to see. And there's this one thing about Mohit Sharma that, the commentators on Star Sports English pointed out the other day, and that was very good, keen observation from them. He runs in with the ball in his other hand and transfers it right when he's near the stumps. That is, when he's 2 yards before loading up, he transfers the ball there and loads up and releases the ball. And so that element of mystery always is going to prevail when you have such a tactic, because if you hold the ball straight with the seam, as a batsman who is standing here, I can at least see directly what you're going to bowl. But with Mohit Sharma, that wasn't the case. With Mohit Sharma, you have no idea. He's running in with this hand, so all of a sudden your angle changes, and then once he shifts here again, you're looking straight. He's running in and bowling the back of the hand delivery. Then you have no idea how to go about your shot, because his back of the hand delivery is probably the best in the IPL going around after Mustafizur Rahman, who's left to Bangladesh. But I must say, CSK's bowling lineup is extremely depleted, and I must say one of the causes of this has not been the injury of Matisha Patirana. With this action, I knew it was inevitable, and I'm glad that it's happening, because Patirana needs to realize that he cannot bowl full throttle for 14 games of the IPL. He's got to be playing only ICC events, and he's got to be playing only in the IPL, because, well, he's going to come back and do the same thing for you on a regular basis. There's not much that he's going to change about his bowling. There's not much he can change, in fact. So probably pace is the only thing he can work on, but the more he works on his pace, the more he's going to strain his muscles. So I would say stick to around 145, 140, 145. Don't try to go the extra mile, literally to go to 150. And it's going to be great to see how Patirana is going to handle his workload as well, and how MSD also is going to handle his workload with this muscle tear. With tomorrow's afternoon game being the decider for CSK's qualification scenario, I'm dreading that match, because this could very well be that game for MS Dhoni, where he said, "This could my last game will be at Chepauk." And would this be his last game, or will one of the qualifiers or the final be his last game? That we are yet to know. But it's going to be CSK versus RCB for that final spot for contention, and I'm really looking forward to who makes it. But in all honesty, my heart throbs for CSK, not only because of the man who has indebted so much of his life to this wonderful city, but it's also because, with the bowling lineup that they've got, I think Joy Bhattacharya said it wonderfully with Gaurav Kapoor on 22 yards, where he says 22 yards, where he said, you know what, Virat Kohli is the kind of chef. If you put MSD and Virat Kohli as chefs, Virat Kohli is the kind of chefs who would say, I want exactly these ingredients. I want these ingredients to make my dish. And MS Dhoni is the kind of captain who would say, you can give me anything and I'll utilize them in the best way to give you the best effective food that I can make out of it. And that very well describes this bowling unit and this batting core. And I see exactly why MS wanted Rutu to lead one season under him, because I think he would want him to get familiar with the captaincy role in this kind of a vibe with 40,000 people almost approximately in every stadium shouting his name. So I think it was wonderful of MSG to take that as well, initiative as well. And to talk about Shubman Gill once again, because I feel I have to touch upon this knock. He was a touch apart with regard to class the other night, because he was batting like an absolute dream. The way he was cutting the ball, the way he played a short arm jab, and I think it was of Ravindra Jadeja's bowling, where he dissects long on and a very, very square deep mid wicket, position deep mid wicket. And that for me was just that stood out, because all he did was this. He stopped his bat flow there, and I remember telling my brother, that's probably a single or a double. And he said, hang on, that's gone to the boundary. And I remember being absolutely shell-shocked looking at that shot, because all he did was time the ball. And Shubman Gill and timing, it's almost as if they're a match made in heaven. And his new opening partner, who in my opinion should have opened with Shubman Gill long ago in the IPL, even in the previous season, he's got some personal vendetta against CSK. Maybe it was not picking him in the auction. Sai Sudarshan also has a wonderful connect with timing the cricket ball. And I think I touched upon the facets that I had to in this episode, and you could see that my vibe was down because CSK lost. But nevertheless, it was always a pleasure to elate you all through this platform, YouTube, once again. And please do give a visit to my podcast sponsors, Wannaby. They have everything covered with regard to real estate, whether it is buying a property, whether it is renting a property. I hope they can buy a spot for CSK in the top 4, or whether it's even finding you a doorstep. Literally, they got every single base covered with B2C and C2C services. All you have to do is visit their website www.wannaby.in, or you can download their app, Wannaby app, for any further inquiries and details. You can always follow their Instagram handle, WannabyOfficial. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Crick Static. I hope you had a great time. Please let me know in the comment section on whether you feel MSD's last match will be on May 12th, May 24th, or May 26th, because all the three are happening in Chepauk. I can't see the man retire on any other surface. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in.